to you. Thank you. You folks read an applause sign better than any group we've ever had in here. Wow, thank you. How are you, boys and girls? Welcome to Mr. Carson's neighborhood. Can you say we're going to have fun with Uncle Eddie and Mr. Trumpet? I'm starting to regress. How are you tonight? We got a good show. Is that made over from the one you had on last night, that jacket?
No.
You know what that looks like? What do they call those things you used to put on the arms of chairs? My mother used to put them.
That's where I got it.
Antimacassars? Is that name ring a bell?
Antimacassars.
Sure.
This is a bunch of old antimacassars sewn together and fertilized.
No, I'm not going to say it. Most of you, I suppose, are on vacation out of town, right? You missed something they had in Los Angeles last week. I could not believe this. They have what they call an Elvis Presley traveling circus. They're not going to let that kid alone, are they? And they had, all the fans showed up, and they had Elvis posters, they had records, they had photographs. You could get Elvis dolls, Elvis T-shirts. You could get Elvis plates and cups with his picture on them. All his fans sat around and ate his favorite food. You know what that was? Peanut butter and fried banana sandwiches. That might have been why Elvis bought the farm. That's right there. And I'm not making this up. You could actually touch the actual underwear of Elvis. Boy, there's a dream come true. Personally, I don't know how you feel about it, but I think if you're going to fondle somebody's underwear, preferably the person should be alive and wearing it. And you know, some Presley fans still believe he's not dead. It's like that, the Jimmy Dean, they still think he's alive. One girl said, because his picture that they saw after he died didn't look like his fan pictures. Well, most people don't look too good after they die. She said Elvis is living in an old hotel in Michigan and hangs around the local Wendy's. I mean, how dumb can you get? Now, we all know Elvis is a dental hygienist in Fargo, North Dakota. Have you been watching television this month? We are in what we call ratings weeks. You know what that is? Networks, local shows put on anything to get you to tune in. And I knew they're scraping the bottom because what do you think they came up with? They brought out the old UFO stuff. Yeah, and they said, are there creatures among us? Are there aliens from outer space? Like this is new stuff. How many of you believe in UFOs, first of all? How many of you believe you're actual aliens? They interviewed on television last week a lady who claims she was actually on an alien spacecraft. Now, I'm going to talk about this a second. You know what bothers me? It's where they land.
Yeah.
Why don't they land in New York, Chicago, here in Los Angeles, or in Carl Sagan's backyard?
Right.
You got a nice witness there, and then Carl can say you've had an incredible journey through space. And the witnesses, do they bother you a little bit?
Yeah.
It's the same people. They just keep moving them from here to there. They don't land in Chicago. They always land somewhere like on rural Route 2 outside of Dead Beetle, Oklahoma. Or next to two guys wearing a Mackinaw, hanging around on the banks of the Yazoo River. And then they interview them. And what do they say? Oh, geez, me and Roy are really scared. The orange lights were flashing, and they just stood there, and the dog was the first to notice it. He ran under the pickup and came out and peed all over Roy's shoes. Those are the witnesses you got. And they interviewed a woman last week who said she had been taken aboard an alien spaceship and had sex with a male alien. Now, she may have a point here because they asked her how she knew it was a male alien, and the lady said, well, she knew it couldn't have been a man from this planet because he actually engaged in foreplay that lasted more than a minute. I think that's a woman's joke, isn't it? Yeah. Here's a little item in the Wall Street Journal the day before yesterday. It's kind of interesting. They've come out with something new, diapers. Not that diapers are new. How new is it? Well, I'll tell you. They're like designer diapers. They're in colors now. Some manufacturer said, let's make blue diapers for boys and pink diapers for girls. Now, some genius, apparently at the company, said we've added extra padding in certain places because of anatomical differences. Now, there is a stunning discovery. If you've ever diapered an infant boy, you are aware immediately of anatomical differences. The extra padding should be added to your face. You remember that? I'm talking Mount St. Helens. Wow! Speaking of infants, you'd read kind of a sad story, but everything's all right. You know who Prince Harry is? He is the second son of Princess Di and Prince Charles, and he had an operation at 3 years old, a hernia operation. But everything's fine. It was very simple, and he's okay. The kid should just never pick up the crown. Anyway, tonight, I was just backstage talking to Mr. Jonathan Winters. He is here tonight. He is loose. A young actor who's been on the show before by the name of Don Yesso, who's in Frank's Place. Interesting story there. And a young lady who is 11 years old. Her name is Kristen Banerjee. Yes. She is 11 years old, and what is interesting, she is a freshman in college. Wow. Yeah, it's going to be tough sledding tonight, so stay where you are. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Really great.
Good job. We have a good show tonight. We have Mr. Johnny Winters, Don Yesso from Frank's Place, and Kristen? All right, Kristen Banerjee, 11 years old and in college. You ever filled out one of these? You ever seen one of these before? I'm not plugging American Airlines.
Sure.
I took a trip when I went back to Washington while we were off, and the stewardess comes along, and she gives you this very involved, about 20 or 30 questions, questionnaire. I suppose all airlines do this. I guess it's to improve their service. And you can fill it out or not fill it out. Although I get the impression, I get intimidated. She comes back and says, would you fill that? And they give you a pencil. And then she comes back 20 minutes later and says, are you finished yet? I get the feeling federal agents are going to be waiting for you at the airport.
You didn't fill out.
But they ask you questions like, they're trying to find out how courteous the employees are, the baggage handling efficient, cleanliness. They ask you the reason for the trip, about the food, your occupation. They ask you how much money you make, what your education is, and you turn it into American Airlines. I suppose it's a good idea. So we figured, folks, we have people come here year after year to see the show. We don't have a questionnaire like this, and we thought we should find out how people have been treated and so forth. Right. So we don't have a meter or anything. I'll just ask you some questions, and you can indicate by your applause or lack of applause how you rate these things on The Tonight Show. First category is called waiting in line.
Oh, bad place to start.
Yeah. All right. How many waited less than an hour? How many waited more than 2 hours? All right, this is for the ladies in our audience who are pregnant. Were you pregnant when you got in line? Just one. Well, that's about average. All right, now we want to check on the attitude of the young men. Well, we have young women pages, too.
Sure.
We call them pages instead of ushers. This is the attitude of the pages who showed you to your seats as you came in tonight. We ask you to rate them. Did they talk in a courteous manner? Good. Seem slightly indifferent? All right. Did any of our pages tell you that you look like a scuzzball and we're damn lucky to get in at all? All right, comfort of the seats. Very comfortable? How many feel they're a little too firm? How many of you feel like you're sitting on a large glob of some foreign substance? The reason I asked, we did game shows here last week, and, you know, the audiences get very excited. How quickly they turn. All right, now the next category is view of the show from your seat. From where you... How many can see perfectly? How many have to look around people? All right, how many from where you are, Ed looks like Hervé Villachez? Now, a lot of people come here and they see the set for the first time live. So we're interested in your opinion of the set. How many of you think it looks larger than it does on television, the set? Oh. How many of you thinks it looks smaller than it does? How many of you think it looks like it was decorated by Ray Charles? Here's a question I'm interested in. This is personal. Now, when you were listening to the monologue tonight, and be honest, how many of you were laughing at almost everything? How many were laughing occasionally? How many of you were thinking of another comedian? Sometimes you have to fantasize. Now, ABC, American Airlines had this in their questionnaire. This is fair. We're going to rate the restrooms here at NBC. How many of you feel they're clean and well-lighted? How many feel that they're adequate? All right, how many feel that the cameras from TV's bloopers and practical jokes are out of place in there? Now, this is for those who took the NBC tour today. How many of you think it was educational? How many would recommend it to your friends? How many of you feel that for that price you should get to see Vanna White in her underwear? Next category. With whom are you attending this program? No one? You're alone? It sounded so sad, didn't it? Sad applause. I've never heard sad applause. All right, how many of you are the spouse? How many are hoping to score with someone here? Now, this we're interested in. This principal reason for coming to the Tonight Show. A, you've been a long-time fan. B, you wanted to see a live TV show. Or C, it's free and you couldn't get tickets to Wheel of Fortune. All right. Thank you very much for your quiz, and we'll put that on our file, and it's meaningless.
D, none of the above.
Excuse me?
D, none of the above.
None of the above. Thank you. Okay. Is this new sponsor?
New sponsor.
Should be treated
Treat them
with,
nicely.
Of course, with dignity.
Yes.
I drink this all the time. Let's welcome Thompson's Water Seal Exterior Stain. It will give your house beautiful color that lasts. Okay, thank you, Doctor. Okay. Now, here is a charming young lady, and she has the distinction of being the youngest college student in Texas, and possibly... Hooray, Texas! And possibly Pittsburgh. Thank you, sir. What do you think this is? Let's make a deal? She might possibly be the youngest college student in the United States. She's 11 years old. She has almost completed her freshman year. We thought you'd like to meet her. She's from Crosby, Texas. Would you welcome, please, Kristen Banerjee. Kristen? Thank you. It's nice to meet you. We have a footstool there. Would you like me to move it out for you?
There we go.
A little more comfortable? How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Nice to meet you, and I thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
You look very pretty.
Thank you.
You're really 11? You're going on 12, huh?
Yes.
When's your birthday?
My birthday is January 27th.
Yeah. I asked you before you'd been on television. You said, yeah. How was your trip out here from... Where's Crosby, Texas?
Crosby, Texas is a city outside of Houston, about 50 miles from
Yeah.
Houston.
So you had a nice trip here? Enjoyed it?
Yes, I especially love the limo.
Oh, the limo. Yeah, we do that, you see, for our guests here. We send a... First time you ever been in a nice, big limousine?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the color TV, the VCR, the telephone.
Color TV and a VCR and all that stuff. Now, you are 11 years old, and you're in your freshman year. Now, what college?
Lee College.
Lee College.
And it's in Baytown, a city outside of Crosby.
Outside of Crosby. Now, when did you know... Now, obviously, you are much brighter than an 11-year-old would normally be. How old were you when you kind of knew that you were smarter than other people? Is that a tough question to answer?
Well, no, not really. I think it was about when I was 8 years old. Beforehand, I kind of knew that I was getting along faster.
Yeah.
But then it really was like a light bulb in my head.
Yeah.
And I said, well, look, I've got to do something about my schooling. You know, it's too slow for me.
You got bored in school?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, what kind of subjects you were taking that bored you at that time?
Well, I was taking reading, English, arithmetic,
Right.
other subjects like that.
And it came too easy for you, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Too easy.
Didn't you say somebody told me your mother you were helping her do something also, or she was helping you?
Well, I went to her classes
To her classes?
when she went to night school.
Yeah.
And she was taking personal health and first aid.
Uh-huh.
And I learned the book, and I did the questions, you know, when they had the quizzes. And I beat her on them.
Oh, boy. Yeah. So, now, did you still get along with Mom all right, though?
Oh,
Yeah,
fine.
that's okay. Now, when did you get out of, how quickly did you go through the next grades?
Well, I went through them very fast, and after I finished 5th grade, I took my end-of-the-year testing to see how well you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I scored post-high school on almost every subject.
Good heavens. What are your favorite subjects? What were your favorite subjects?
Well,
Then we'll talk about what you're taking now.
They seem to change every day.
Yeah?
I like French, math, science.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
French, math, and science. Now, what are you taking as a freshman?
As a freshman, I'm taking zoology, chemistry, PE, and English comp. And
Zoology, chemistry, and English composition.
and PE.
And physical education, along with that. That sounds like a pretty tough schedule.
Well, it keeps me busy about 12 hours every week.
What is your favorite out of those subjects?
My favorite is chemistry.
Chemistry.
Uh-huh.
I was not good at chemistry at all. Why do you like chemistry?
Well, I like learning about the Earth, what the Earth is made of,
Mm-hmm.
the elements, and I especially like the part about biochemistry.
Biochemistry. Yeah, that was my favorite.
It tells you about the...
Tell me about biochemistry a little bit. I missed that, I think.
Okay, it explains the chemical reactions that occur inside the body.
Chemical reactions occur inside the body.
And we learned about monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. The monosaccharide is a simple sugar, and the disaccharide is a complex sugar made out of 2 monosaccharides.
That's right.
And the polysaccharide is 2 or more sugars. And those are a lot of different things. They're made out of maybe 67, 39, a lot of them.
Yeah. I'm still reading Bambi. How do you get along with the other students at college now?
Well,
how do they relate to you? Because most of them are obviously 17, 18 years old.
Well, they say hi, they talk to me, and once I tutored a guy that was not doing so well in English.
You tutored him.
I helped him with his paper because he put too much redundancies in his paper.
No, you should never do that. Too many redundancies in a paper, I mean, out. Now, what do you take in PE? What kind of stuff?
Well, it's a women's exercise class, and you just do stretches like jumping jacks, tumbling, and you run around the gymnasium 17 times.
Right.
And sometimes if you go outside and you run around the 2.8-mile course one time, then you accomplish a lot more than you do running around the gymnasium 17 times.
Right. You have a very active life. We're going to come back and talk to you some more, okay?
Okay.
We're going to take a break. We're coming right back. Stay where you are. If you just tuned in, this young lady to my right is Kristen Banerjee, who's 11 years old, freshman in college already. I wanted to ask you, you said you didn't find it too difficult with the older kids in college, but who were most of your friends?
Well, I have friends outside college. They
More or less your own age?
Yeah, they live in Houston, and my best friend, her name is Carla Luna, and she's 11 years old.
Oh, that's good. Does it ever bother you when, or do the other kids feel a little jealous sometimes, knowing that you're more advanced? Is that ever awkward?
Not really. But one thing about it is that when I know an answer to a question, I don't usually raise my hand because I'm afraid that
They'll think you're showing off a little
Right.
bit? Yeah. Well, I think that's very diplomatic of you. Just kind of lay back. I like maybe you don't know either. And you know, right? You know, this may seem a little presumptuous of me to ask this, but do you have a boyfriend at all?
Well, not really, except I have a little bit of a crush on a guy that is in my zoology class. He's 19, and his name is Joe Cool.
He's 19, and his name is what?
Joe Cool.
Joe Cool? I think that's the name that's got you. You like the name. It's not a serious crush, though, huh?
No, it's just a nickname, and when
Yeah.
he comes into class, he has no books, he has no, he has no paper, and he has no pencil,
Yeah.
and he always wears these cool clothes. One time, he was wearing a leather jacket with nothing underneath.
Really? Yeah. Are you blushing a little bit? Huh? Yeah. Anyway, what are you specializing in now?
Right now, I think I'm specializing in human development.
In human development. Somebody said you might want to be a doctor someday?
Yes, I want to be a neonatologist, which is a doctor.
A neonatologist.
Neonatologist, which is a doctor that cares for premature babies and very sick infants.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating. Takes care of premature neonatology. Well, how many years will it take you now to get your education, you feel, in college?
Well, I suppose that I'll be finished in about 2 years for college, and then I'll probably start medical school. And I think I want to take a kind of a long time over that.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll be finished by the time I'm 18 or 19.
Yeah.
And then I have to do my residency, which is 5 years.
Yeah. So you'll be an old lady by the time you get to be a doctor. You may be 21 or 22 years old, huh? Way past your prime. Well, I think that's nice. Now, doctors do pretty well. They make, they're some of the highest salaried people in the country. They make quite a bit of money. Have you thought of that also?
Yes.
Yeah. What would you do if you make a lot of money?
Well, for one thing, I want to buy a Ferrari. A red Ferrari.
A red Ferrari?
Uh-huh.
Boy, that's great.
And one reason why is because my mom has a car that's...
A real lemon, huh?
Uh-huh.
And you would like to have a red Ferrari?
Uh-huh.
I kind of get the feeling you'll probably end up with a red Ferrari, too. Well, you're a charming young lady. Are you going to stay out in California for a while?
Well, I'm leaving tomorrow.
You have to go back to school?
Right.
Well,
I don't have to go to summer school for a while, but I'm going to visit my dad in Dallas.
well, that's nice. Well, it's very nice to meet you. You're a very nice young lady.
Thank you.
And I wish you much success, and I hope you become a very successful doctor.
Thank you.
Would you come back and see us if we're still around?
Oh, sure.
Okay, that's a date. Thank you, Kristen. Is she a charmer?
Oh, boy.
Boy, there's no explaining it. It just it happens. We'll be back. Johnny Winters is here, and Don Yesso. Stay where you are. Okay, we are back. Okay, We have another 11-year-old with us tonight, Johnny Winters. Jonathan Winters has probably had as much influence on other comedians as anybody I know, but nobody can be Johnny Winters. He is unique. He has a movie coming out called Moon Over Parador with Richard Dreyfuss. It's coming out in August. And he has a book out called Winter's Tales, Stories and Observations for the Unusual. No kidding. Would you welcome Jonathan Winters?
I was certainly taken with the little girl.
Yeah. Isn't she nice?
I really was. You know, at 11, of course, I was still doing this. If I give you... Oh, they were saying that. If I give you 4 apples and 3 more, how many do you have? Too many for my lunchbox. At 11. Not funny. Yeah. Not funny to the teacher.
No. And this kid is in college.
This kid is in college. Boy, it must be. Of course, she's doing a smart thing from my standpoint. She's dating a 19-year-old. Because that guy is probably very sophisticated. And, you know, type, "Hi, honey, how are you? Here's another copy of Mice and Men." I don't know.
Were you any good in school?
I was kidding.
What were you like in school?
What was I like?
Were you disruptive? Were you a...
No, I wasn't.
Most people would think you're crazy.
I know that. Well, they do today.
Yes.
But years ago, I was a very normal child. Too normal, probably. I wasn't making any money. No, my parents were divorced. I won't go into a long thing in deference to... They're gone anyway, but...
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
The thing was that... Dad was off, you know, somewhere in an open field or, you know, settling insurance policies near a creek bank. And so I just didn't know about him where he was. And it was always explained he's away. Everybody in our family was away a lot. Where's Uncle, Aunt Emma? She's away, dear.
You never knew where.
Yeah. Well, I knew that eventually, as I went by one of the institutions, but at any rate, Mom did her best, and she tried, but I struggled because, when people say it's, as you asked the little girl, which was interesting, you said, what are some of your favorite subjects and what do you excel in? Well, when you're 11 and in college, of course, you excel in everything.
Yeah.
I was blown in all departments. Math was not my best.
Yeah.
I got as far as geometry, and... I thought that was just, having been tutored in literally everything from the apples to algebra, a square plus b square, and
you
sitting
still
there.
Remember that?
Oh, please. Yes. But because I remember the students going up and finishing. And I was always like this, you know. When she was, it was interesting. I really taken by her philosophy, some of those words. When it was always John Winters' problem number 6. And I was, but you become an actor. It's interesting. I was calling on, failures then. Mind failures, arthritis in both feet. So I'd say, "I can't walk, sir. I can't walk to the board. Maybe if you bring the board to me." Get up.
Surely.
But,
I like the multiple choice stuff because you had a shot at it. You know.
Where did you go to school?
You could take a guess.
Did you have multiple choice?
Sure, we had.
I told you, Dr. Nendler. You cheated me. We didn't get the multiple choice. God bless you.
The essays were the worst. The blue book of the essays.
I never. Oh, well, now you're talking about college with the blue book. I was in college just about an hour. First of all, they paddled me. I wasn't used to that. I'd come out of 3 years in the Marines, and a guy said, "Assume the angle." And I said, "What angle are we talking about? We're back to geometry again." I grabbed the ankles. How many times? In those days, we were really in shape.
Yeah.
Had the 32 waist, and we didn't have steroids in those days. We picked each other up. If you could find an attractive man, with well-built, without going too far, building, the arms automatically grow. No, the guy spanked me or paddled me, and I had to repeat all the chapters, and apparently there are a lot of chapters in the deke.
And that was it, huh?
Well, that was it for him.
Yeah.
I
forgot you. Of course, you were in the Marines.
Yeah, the 3 years. I I don't know where I was. I didn't know where I was a lot because we weren't told. And many's the time, people say where we were. I knew we were in the Pacific. You were in the Marines.
Yes,
You became a general.
No, Colonel.
Don't really?
Colonel, just a colonel.
That's as good as a general.
All right.
You must be very proud of that.
Thank you.
Did you strafe a lot of workers in the field? No, those guys at El Toro. Well,
Nice to see you having shaved. My seat just went down.
hey.
My seat just went down.
You may be. Hey, how about this? No.
God, I thought we were canceled. I thought it was all over. The seat just went.
Well, you may be dating the little girl.
That's what the hell happened? Fix me. Get up. Thank you. Thank you, Ray.
Are you all right?
Well, when it's over, it's over.
Boy.
NBC is cruel the way they tell you that just the seat goes down and they move somebody in.
I thought the little girl was going to run in.
Hey, he's my size now.
I haven't seen you for a while. Do you take a vacation? What you call a vacation? Go somewhere?
Well, Johnny, I've been on so many. As a matter of fact, and I'm not making this up, some stuff I have to. I mean, if you return home late at night, you better have a story.
Yes.
So, at any rate, I'm going fishing in 2 weeks with a companion. And, wonderful guy. And, I wanted to take a girl, but I'm married. So I found this guy that, fingers are gone. But at any rate, we're going to fly from here, LAX to Minneapolis, and then Minneapolis to International Falls, and then to Bemidji, a little place. Yeah. That's where the river, Mississippi River.
Yeah.
Interesting piece of history. A little girl might be interested in this. It's only about that wide, so anybody can step over the Mississippi right at Bemidji. There are no fish there. You have to take dynamite to get anything. But then we go into Canada and do a lot of this, and oh, jeez.
Well, that sounds like fun.
It should be.
Camping,
if it isn't, I'm down.
Camping out and cooking and all that stuff?
Well, it's fun if you don't get bitten by a snake. I got bitten 1 year, and I don't want to get into where I was bitten, but it stopped fishing right away. But at any rate, it's just fun to get outdoors.
Yeah. We'll sell a little something here, and then we'll come back. Stay where you are. Every time John comes on, we kind of give him a little exercise here, since you do so many characters. We're talking about traveling. I'm going to give you a couple of names of, say, tourists from other countries who are coming over to America on vacation, and you just give me your impressions or why they came here or wherever it flows, all right? British agent Leslie Sitzpuffin.
Actually, it's Fitzpuffin.
I'm sorry.
It's mispronounced. It was when I was first a young agent, and obviously still being mispronounced. But that's perfectly understandable and perfectly all right. I've never been in all my travels. I was in the British Army, and as a youth, I wasn't with any army. I was just mainly at home in Devon. But when I jumped out of school, I went directly to Africa, and then we engaged the Italians there, and the Germans too, and I was in the bloody war for some time. And then time took its toll, and I went to India and raised snakes. And then now I want to go to America, and my chief reason for going, there's so many reasons. I mean, when you think of 50 states, my God in heaven, that's a tremendous amount of people in a vast country. I can only think of China and Russia being as big, or Africa. America's right in there. It's just enormous. And so much going on, color TV and automobiles on the highways and pretty girls doing things. And so I want to go and see a baseball game. Any man that makes a couple of £1 million with a mitten in the middle of summer, catching a silly white ball and hitting something with a stick, I want to see it.
Yes.
Well, if I don't see it, I suppose I'll go directly to an apartment and put my head near an air conditioning unit.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Leslie. How about Monsieur Francois Defoe.
Ah, Monsieur Defoe.
Mr. Defoe. I
Defoe.
mispronounced your name again.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
all right. You know, Defoe is correct. You know, fou in French means crazy.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes, I am very aware of that.
Francois de Crazy.
Francois de Fou. Francois de Crazy, you know, when it's translated into English at any rate. But my reason for coming to America, like the other man, I was never in a war. It was unfortunate. I couldn't go. I had double murmur in the mind or something. And my décolle, mon saccaway chez ton sondu, which is mind murmuring. And the eyes roll around and you can't concentrate on the artillery. So I passed on that and had just a series of affairs de son cher.
I see.
And, but I'm going to America because I've always wanted to go to Hollywood.
Hollywood?
Oh, yes. I've been married, 6 or 7 times, you know. Oh, yes. And I'd like to try one more, Maybe go to Anaheim for a honeymoon and whatever, but I've seen so many beautiful women, they're not all in Paris or Bordeaux or Monaco or, Algiers or whatever, Italy. There are a number of them, right in Hollywood. The young girls who are 25, 30, 35. Right now, I would settle for a woman about 48. A good woman who just said, I know a woman down the street where I live is like that. She carries a ghetto blaster,
Well, it's totally nice that you're here. Now let's talk to a tourist from Germany, Hans Beldenhofer.
Yes, that's exactly right. Well done. Good thinking. Hans Beldenhofer.
Hans Beldenhofer.
Obviously, I'm German, And a lot of people during the engagement I was in thought I was Dutch. I started out with the Edam cheese as a child. And we captured a guy by a windmill when Father and I were visiting Amsterdam. My main reason for coming to America is to visit the cemeteries.
Beg pardon?
Cemeteries. I love battlefields.
Oh, I see.
Really, I should have said battlefields. Same thing, if you die there with a cannon, or you just whatever, But I want to also see my dream, and I'm originally from Bavaria, What? Yeah, I recognize her. Fräulein Steckler. I thought you'd raise your hand sooner or later. Used to be in that leather coat in Paraguay. It gave you away. Any rate, I really looking forward to seeing Detroit.
Detroit?
Oh, yeah. Any major city with all those incredible, marvelous people and those guys that sit down at the drawing boards and make the cars. They goofed. And I want to see why Detroit made a mistake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, sir.
Other than that, a couple of steins, a little beer. Prost it.
Yeah, well.
Ooh, jeez, you hit that a good lick.
Thank you, Hans. Want to mention, you actually went to Paraguay to make this movie?
Well, no, we went to Brazil.
Brazil, excuse me.
Went to Brazil a year ago.
Moon over Parador.
Moon over Parador. It won't be out. I wish we had anything. Still, we have nothing. One of those rare times, an actor sits there and starts to talk about a movie. We have nothing for you to see. You'll just have to wait like me. So there, crash. We went down a year ago. August
first trip?
September.
First trip?
First trip. Well, I've been down to Colombia. I shouldn't drop heavy names, but good. Colombians are a little bit of everything here tonight. 2 hands here, one lady from Germany. Incredible. Went down to Colombia years ago, and I've been in, Peru, which I really loved. 2 from Peru. You rascals. Here's something else. Throw a light on that person. They're from Encino. At any rate, I love Peru. Much appreciated. But in Brazil, we had a marvelous time. Richard Dreyfuss, who's a fantastic actor and one of the hottest properties around, did a great job, along with Raul Julia, who was He just finished that series on Onassis, where he...
Yeah, he played Aristotle Onassis.
And he's an exciting actor, along with Sammy Davis Jr., a wonderful guy, and a guy that's been around since he was before the little 11-year-old. It was a great guy and a lot of fun to be with.
Did you speak the language at all?
Did I speak the
Or
language?
did you just make it up?
Well, I can speak Spanish if you put something to the head and that's quite long and black, then chances are we'll talk about the tires and coche. No se le mi esposa mi enfermo. Donde es el coche aquí? You know, and Mondia su muerte, maracon. Whatever comes to you, you know. You got to do it. You got to throw a lot of things around very fast. Despacio, you know, the guy will say. Hopefully, the guy from Paraguay or from Brazil. They're Portuguese in Brazil.
Yeah.
Marvelous country. I took a lot of pills, and they didn't work. For food and other reasons. And I was just up all night watching Portuguese television and just sort of... and of course, in my lap, I had some... Most of the times when you do go to the commode, the bathroom, whatever they want to call lavabo.
El baño.
Yeah, the baño. Is it baño?
El baño.
Well, I went to a baño. There was another guy in the baño. Now, you're talking about something else with a baño, because I saw a big pair of Adidas, you know. So at any rate, we had a great time. Paul Mazursky was the guy that directed. He was a fantastic guy, really a funny, funny man. And it comes out August 5th, which I realize, this is May. How fast we are.
Look, when it comes out, come back and bring a film clip.
I've got to come back before that, Johnny. I need the money.
We'll be back in a moment. Stay where you are. Okay, we just have time. By the way, I mentioned Don Yesso, who's to be with us tonight. We've asked Don to come back as soon as possible. He'll join us soon. Hey, it's good to see you again.
Hey,
thanks for
you,
coming.
Johnny.
You're looking well and funny as ever.
Thank you.
And right around August, going over Paraguay.
Right around August, we'll have a full clip, hopefully.
Tomorrow night, Sylvester Stallone will be here, comedian Steve Middleman, and Victoria Jackson. Thank you. Have a nice night. I'm humbled by that applause.